could find is this lumber rack out of here, out of Missoula. Right here you've got the tanker refill facility. These tankers connect a pipeline from Missoula to Thompson Falls. Hopefully I can switch to a better ride when it gets light. This is definitely something that's going to be very visible once it gets light. Alright, it's about 3 hours later, about sunrise here. And no stop, so I'm out here, I'm kind of exposed on this lumber rack. But what's interesting, there's got to be, there's huge forest fires in the region. You can see the smoke. It smells like smoke. I'm not sure how close that I'm going to get to the fire, but I mean, it's got to be, I can smell thick smoke from here. Crazy. I've never been this close to a forest fire. I don't know if the train is going to go through the fire, but the smoke is like, it's almost unpleasant right now. It's super strong smell. I'm kind of surprised the train is still going at full speed through here. I mean, the visibility is just not, it's down to definitely under a mile. Starting to clear up as we head through Thompson Falls, and I think this is the last town, so I may be safe on this lumber rack the rest of the way in. Doesn't get better than this. Does not get better. Idaho, and when we get there, our main line is going to meet up with another main line, the High Line, coming in further north. So then we'll have a bunch more trains to see. And then from there, it's just going to be about another 40 miles to the crew change of Hauser. Alright, this is the High Line coming in here from further north, going to Whitefish. All the tracks join up right here in Sandpoint. The freaking train never stopped, so I'm just sitting out here in the open, hoping nobody in any of this building sees me, but it's summer recreation season out here. Hopefully they'll be understanding. Got the crew office here, the Amtrak station. The best part is coming right up. Quaint little town of Sandpoint. Nice marina, got everything you need here for summer recreation. As you can see, you got this trestle. Look at that. That's an easy dive into the water from here. No guardrail. And one of these days, I'm going to do this. Look at that. Amazing. The next time I ride this route, I got to jump into that water. It looks so refreshing. Alright, so the train is approaching Hauser, which is this big old yard kind of just out here in the woods. And when we get there, it's going to be necessary to switch trains from this one, which is going to Pasco, to another train going to Seattle, Tacoma. Hopefully I can figure out the right train because there's a big junction. Alright, just safely got off the train in Hauser, Idaho. There it is right now. It's pulling a little bit more into the yard. I just kind of got off out here because I saw some workers. So what you've got here in Hauser is a pretty substantial fueling station with maybe a little bit of switching yard too. It's really not very close to anything, which is frustrating. It's by Rathdrum, Idaho. And it's maybe, that's a tiny town. And it's got some kind of county road level road coming in, but it used to be in Spokane, and that's a lot better because that's a big city. So out here, I mean, there's not any beer or supplies for a several mile walk. So basically the situation here is you've got this junction coming up. It's in Spokane. I think it's called Lata Junction or something like that. And at that junction, trains are either going to go Pasco/Portland or Wenatchee/Seattle Tacoma. And figuring out which one is going to go to Wenatchee could be a bit of a challenge. As far as that junction goes, it's a lot easier to definitely go Pasco than it is to go Wenatchee. All Montana Rail Link, BNSF, GM trains, they all go to Pasco, as well as all coal and all grain. So that's a bunch of trains right there that guaranteed go that direction. Some intermodal also goes to Portland and Seattle. Basically, it's going to have to be some kind of an intermodal train. So, the Port of Seattle and Port of Tacoma, you've got Hanjin, China Shipping, Hyundai, Costco. There's a couple other ones. Portland does not have Hyundai, but it's got Hanjin, and I think it's got a few of the other ones. So, the only certain train that's going to go the right direction for me here is going to have a bunch of Hyundai cars on it. And that honestly might not be even one a day. So there's a good chance of having to gamble on something that's just got Hanjin, China Shipping, that kind of containers on it. And it may or may not go the right way. And look what's pulling in here about 2 hours after I got here. We got a train with a bunch of Hyundai and a bunch of Evergreen containers. Looking at the containers, we've got Yang Ming. A lot of. Further up there's a bunch of Hyundai. We've got Costco, which is China Ocean Shipping Company. I'd also like to point out that while I've had good luck today, assuming this is the right train, you could definitely be here, 12, 18 hours waiting for a train that's got the right look for the Seattle Tacoma. So just because it worked out this time doesn't mean on another day you couldn't be here 24 hours looking for this thing. And now we arrive. There's only one set of rides on the whole train, almost SOL. We call these Viking ships. They kind of look like a Viking ship, if you can see. So I'd just like to point out, the one obstacle we're looking at is it's going to go through this large building, which is the fuel station here. And there are cameras and there's guys watching. It shouldn't be a big deal. Alright, so the engines on this train right now are at the fuel station. And the thing about this fuel station is that it's like a huge barn, a big metal barn building, and it's enclosed. So there's a chance of some surveillance with cameras and stuff going through here. I've never had an issue with it in the past. It's been 8 years since I've been through here. Alright, so about to go through the big fuel station. Alright, so the train is approaching the junction in Spokane. Right now we're just in the very east sector of Spokane. And I'd just like to point out, when you're gambling, whether it be at the casino or on a train, I've always found that my luck improves. I drink more beer. Here we go. has changed a great deal, obviously. From Spokane to Wenatchee, it's mostly just desert like this, which is kind of grim. It's super hot. There's not any water. This is the kind of place where you could have an actual real problem if somehow you got stranded off the train. There's rattlesnakes. There's zero moisture ever in this region. It's kind of got some cool geology, but for the most part, I'm really glad when we get out of this area because it's so hot. I'm not going to complain about this. Coming to a stop on this siding here. We've got a nice cool river right over there. As you look at this region, this is pretty clear that it's game over if you get stranded out here. But I mean, this has got to be like an artificial irrigation canal. There's no way any water whatsoever makes it through here. Definitely not the kind of place to take lightly. There's rattlesnakes. So I definitely say my hunch about the direction this train is going was correct. We got the Hyundai cars, and you can see the rest of the look of this train, and it turned out to be correct. This is the Wenatchee route. That is super refreshing. Gotta be positive that the train doesn't start moving. It's not a fact that because we stopped on a siding that means we're waiting for another train. That is not a fact. This train can start moving at any second. So this is Wenatchee, and honestly it's a pretty big buzzkill getting off here. I'm just trying to find like a gas station to get some beer, maybe get some food. It pretty much looks deserted, so far it gets a thumbs down for me. So just as some general commentary, I'd say that I'm finding fewer and fewer reasons to get off the train in any of these smaller towns in America, because you're just finding in the same thing everywhere. Just everybody has moved out of town, and there's not a cool restaurant, there's not a place to get beer. It's really frustrating. Alright, leaving Wenatchee, the next stretch is probably the most scenic of the whole trip, going up over the Cascade Range. Probably one of the most dramatic spots in the United States. Way up here in the Cascades now, I'd like to just point out one of the nice attributes of the Pacific Northwest that's pretty much more here than anywhere else is going to be nice, fresh berries growing around. You could almost definitely camp out up here. There's a lot of sightings and a lot of places where the train goes slow, like right here. Additionally, lame as it is, there still is a road somewhere through those trees. I think it's Highway 2. The presence of berries makes the Pacific Northwest, honestly, maybe tops. Because just about anywhere you get off the train, be it down in Seattle or you've got a ton of blackberries, or up here, you've got definitely a good chance of finding something yummy like this. I don't know what exactly this genus is. It's not a raspberry, but it's similar. It's delicious. We're getting close to the Cascade Tunnel, which is a 7-mile-long tunnel up here. I'd say this is probably the most scenic run in the United States as far as just the dramatic nature of these mountains. They're super tall on both sides, and somehow they got the track through here. Cascade right there, 7 miles long. Now here on the west side of the Cascades. Right up here at, I think it's called North Beach, Seattle. The train is coming to a stop at the Ballard Locks drawbridge. And my destination is Fremont, which is not too far a walk from here, so that means it's time to get off. It slowed down just long enough to get off up here. This is one of the places it might stop north of the locks or south of there. There's a drawbridge, and every time some Microsoft guy drives his sailboat through, they stop the train for it. So, good thing I didn't wait for it to come to a stop, because now he's booking it again.